Welcome everyone to our Tuesday night chat. I'm Kelli Wilkins, your host from My Self-Reliance, and it's so good to be with you tonight. For those of you who are new, who are jumping on for the first time, we have these conversations every Tuesday night. It started back in 2022, where we couldn't go anywhere. We could only have conversations over Zoom. So this is our community. We get to be with each other, talk about things that are relevant to being self-reliant and to uplift and support each other. Tonight, I have a very special guest speaker, and I want to just introduce you to how we got to be here in this conversation. And uh, for those of you who have heard my story, I was unwell in the last few months. It's not like me to be unwell. I'm a very healthy person. I've been in the health and wellness industry for the last 18 years. And so I've always looked after myself. But when I, on January 3rd, I got sick quite suddenly. And I couldn't figure out why. It just felt really weird to be just unwell and not know why. And on the day that we moved to the property that you can see behind me in this on this screen, and I'm going to move this way so you can see my horse. There's my horse. That way, that way. I was diagnosed. My doctor rang me and said, "You have an overactive thyroid." And so moving to a brand new property, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know have a doctor to turn to. Um, but lots of beautiful people like Wilma who is on tonight, had reached out to me and said, these are Lifewave patches. You need to try them. They're amazing. I have another friend, Cheryl in Sydney, who gave me some patches to try, and I did use them before I had a chance to get to a doctor or medication or anything like that. And they worked for me. They gave me energy. They helped me to feel better. And uh, I did try a lot of things. I have to acknowledge all the things that I did. Lots of essential oils, lots of prayer and meditation, um, and really diving down, doing a deep dive into my emotional health, like what was the cause, what was bringing this on. And it was a lot to do with leaving Sydney and leaving my people behind and feeling like I've abandoned them. But not really. It's not really true. It's just how I felt at the time. It was like a bit of guilt on my heart that I was leaving my people. And got all that cleared and allowed these beautiful natural therapies to work for me. But also went to see the doctor. Now, I did chat to Misha and to Wilma at that time, and they could tell you that I was just very low in energy. And a short time later, I'm back to being my old self.
Yeah.
So I have invited them on. And I also want to say I love the industry that these ladies are in. I've been in the network marketing industry for the last 25 years. And I think it is the smartest thing that anybody can do if you're looking for how to create wealth for yourself, how to start a business, how to really be independent, because starting a business isn't easy. But when you are given a product that works, it's like a business in a box, and you get training and support and people who are ready to love on you. And all you have to do is to move the needle in the right direction is work on yourself. That's what I believe. Work on yourself, develop your own mindset, and become a product of the product so that everyone can see that it works. And then you've got a business that works. So this is, I guess, the first in a series of I want to say a business in a box that I want to share with people, because I know that people are looking for how can I be more independent, more self-reliant, get out of the job that I hate, come home and do something that's meaningful and worthwhile and makes a difference. So I come from a background of direct sales in health and wellness myself. So I know exactly what these ladies are going to share with you tonight. Not obviously in the same company as these beautiful girls, but I do want people to start to see that you don't have to have a job, which is a just over broke job, to get ahead. You can get ahead by doing something that you love. And so, as we go through these next few months, you're going to um, have a look at a range of different things that make a difference in the world. And so, because these help me, this is a great place to start. So, I'm going to bring on Wilma and Misha, and we'll pin these lovely ladies as well. This is Wilma. Hi, Wilma.
Hi everyone.
Hi, Wilma.
And Misha, lovely to have you here.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you
Thank
for
you for joining
inviting
us.
us.
So, Misha, I'm going to start with you because I think you've been with your company Lifewave longer than probably Wilma has, but Wilma was the
Very
one
long.
who reached out to me, and Wilma said, "Kelli, this product is working for me. Have a look at it, and it might just work for you too." So, Misha, tell us about Lifewave. What is it?
Well, it is the most extraordinary technology that I have ever come across, and I've been like you, in that wellness space, health and wellness space, for a long time. In fact, for 3 decades, easily. And so I'll just preface before I say what it is, that how it found me was that I was like you. I suddenly had a situation where I realized that I actually had worked extremely hard on becoming healthy. I'd had chronic fatigue post-university, been in a terrible car accident, had life, throw some things at you. So that started me on my own wellness journey, and I had to learn about the immune system. I had to learn about detoxing. And then you fast forward through all these years that had abundant health to suddenly not having it. And I threw all the different protocols of everything I knew at it. And I've got lots of friends of mine that are, in the health and wellness laneway. And so I had, tried it all. And then suddenly a girlfriend of mine, I had brain fog, fried adrenals, had a lot of discomfort in my knee from an injury that I'd sustained 18 months prior. I had, entered that uncharming time of life called menopause. And in the midst of it, like you, there was the emotional side, that stress of my mum passed away that year in 2022. And so on New Year's Day of 2023, after sending a rocket of prayer out on Christmas Day, my girlfriend rang us, my husband and I, and she was incredibly excited, and she was talking about these patches. She had had sciatica pain for the 4 years that I'd known her, debilitatingly. And suddenly she was talking about this technology, popped a patch on, and she said that within 4 hours on Christmas Day that her sciatica pain had disappeared. So understandably, she was excited. She came around and shared it with us. And the thing that she said, Kelli, to me was that it was light therapy, that photobiomodulation, light therapy, that it was non-transdermal, which is a biggie for many of us because it means nothing penetrates through the skin. So knowing that there are no nasties in it, no chemicals, no stimulants, no drugs, and that it's using our body's own light, and that it was frequency medicine. So I was in. I just had a lean in. I thought, well, it's exactly 7 days from when I'd sent that prayer of intent. And here's this simple looking little patch. But it is 20 years worth of technology, and it's by a scientist and inventor called David Schmidt. And he started in this laneway 20 years ago when he was creating something to keep the Navy SEALs awake. He was commissioned by the US government. So, you know, when they go on submarines and they need to stay awake for very long periods of time, about 68 hours at a time. And so he started the first patches, which were energy and endurance. They were taken up by the US Olympic team. And it started him on his course. And he ended up like he took that company himself. He created his own company and he started this in this laneway of using light for healing, and we are beings of light. So what this patch does is it uses our body's own light and reflects that light back into us, and with an encoded message that sends a message to our body to elevate something called copper peptide. And copper peptides are known as the holy grail of anti-aging, and they are the ones that are responsible for rebooting our master cells, our stem cells. And that's exciting because these patches are an activator, but our body does the work. Our body's own innate intelligence sends our reawakened stem cells to wherever they're needed the most. And that's one thing that I love. And I saw that very, very quickly in myself, a change. And as a result, I started sharing, as you do, as did my skeptical husband that started. He was a bit on the skeptical side at the beginning, but to his surprise, he had some incredible change quite early as well. And we've been patching for 2 years and 2 months now, and we've seen the ripple effect of people just sharing, and it's all around Australia, New Zealand, and of course people have got friends and family overseas. So it's been an amazing journey, just incredible to see what the body is capable of doing when its own stem cells reactivate.
Amazing. So I love that people can notice the difference in such a short time. Isn't it? That's incredible. Because most people are like, well, you have to take this, and then after 30 days, you might start to notice something, right? And people are noticing a difference like so quickly.
It is extraordinary, and not everybody feels a difference straight away, Kelly, but many do within the first day, within the first week, and certainly within the first, they say, you know, like 90 days. But when the body, say if you've got an issue with your heart or your lungs or your pancreas, what happens is your body will send those stem cells there first, and you're not necessarily feeling that, because stem cells, the job of a stem cell is that it makes new, and so it regenerates. So it repairs, it regenerates, and it makes new. So we're not necessarily feeling it when it's on internal organs, but when you give the body time, it is extraordinary. But it's mind-blowing as to, for many people, how fast they feel more energy. The most common is more energy, more vitality, clear thinking, no more brain fog. You know, when you, if you've ever walked down the hall into another room and thinking, why am I here? And you have to go back to where you had a thought to pick it up again. And so that's inflammation in the brain. And we've got inflammation through all different areas of our body. So it's really exciting that stem cells head to the weakest link, which tends to have be surrounded by inflammation. And when that inflammation disappears, the results are extraordinary. And another really fast one tends to be improvements in sleep, in particular the depths of sleep, and that REM sleep, the quality of sleep. And we know that when people are sleep deprived, or when they don't have good sleep, sleep is one of the absolute foundational principles of staying well or recovering from something.
Do you know, I have 1,000 questions, so I need to just focus on which ones first. So I love this technology. It's very new. As you say, David Schmidt's been working on it for 20 years, and he created it for the Navy SEALs. So how did he get it from the Navy SEALs to us?
Great. It's a great question. So what happened was the first patches were actually called energy and endurance patches, and they they were the ones that were for the Navy SEALs. And what happened is, if you remember an event, 9/11 came along, the government withdrew funding from personnel and they put it all into arms, which was the best, most divine thing that could have happened, because it steered David into taking what he'd already cracked into this technology, and he went out on his own. And so very quickly it was taken up by the US Olympic swim team coaches. And if anyone recalls, in 2008, when Michael Phelps and all of those guys were smashing, their personal bests often in their first day, they were wearing these patches. So he had developed, the man has around 200 worldwide patents in lots of different things. And he's exceptionally gifted. He's a 2-time recipient in the International Hall of Fame for science and invention. But he's created the lattice structure that holds these patented crystals that hold the frequency. He's created the equipment that makes it. So it's such a simple looking patch, but the technology behind it is absolutely phenomenal and mind-blowing, and he's had to create it all. And then so you fast forward to when he really, and we've heard it for years, like if you remember Christopher Reeve, when he had that awful accident and everything, he was one of the ones that was such an advocate and started to talk about, the discussion started about stem cell research. And for years we've been told stem cells are the way of the future of medicine. But they never believed that they could actually reawaken our own dormant stem cells. I don't know about you, but I knew a fair bit about the immune system and health, but I didn't know that by the time we're 30, half of our stem cells are dormant, not active anymore. And then by the time we're 60, we're very, very lucky if we've got 10% that are still active. And that's the reason why we don't heal as quickly, why we don't repair as quickly when something happens. And also why we go into the aging funnel. It's what happens. But the beauty about this is the simplicity of the technology, that he took him 10 years to perfect, and $4.5 million for this particular X39 patch, which reawakens our master cells. And I love that before I was taking all these supplements, I was trying to, boost my immune system. One of my girlfriends, Sally Ann, functional nutritionist, she said, you take this when you first get up, and this before eating, and this after, and it becomes very, very complicated. And that's not great when you've got outrageous amounts of brain fog. This, if you wake up, you open your peepers or you clean your teeth, you bung a patch on. We tend to wear it behind our neck, which is along the spinal column around that C7. You can wear it anywhere. You can pop it anywhere on your body. And the stem cells will make their way. But the really beautiful part is that you wear it for 12 hours, take it off, throw it in the bin, and then the next day you repatch. And the only thing you need to think of, David Schmidt talks about it all the time, is the incredible, incredible importance, and we know this, but of hydration, that we need to have plenty of good quality, not the tap stuff, but good quality water. In particular, if we can put a tiny pinch of Celtic salt in it, because that profoundly increases the absorption. And it allows our body, as it starts to release the toxins, stem cells wake up, go to work, body releases some of that toxic load progressively. And it has the ability with water as the conduit that flushes it out. And the other thing is, stem cells, they're thirsty little suckers, because you find yourself naturally wanting to drink more. Yeah. But the simplicity, I love that, for the cost of a cup of coffee a day, but the simplicity that you don't need to do different protocols of when you take it, what you do. You just bung a patch on in the morning, when you clean your teeth for us, take it off when you're going to bed, throw it out, new one the next day, and plenty of water.
Do you know what those 3 things, the light, the frequency, and the water. They are things that just really have the body come alive, isn't it?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, what a powerful combination that we're focusing on with our health. I don't pretend that I grasp the whole thing, right? There's layers to that, but we are beings of light, and frequency. When we're in harmony with that, then our resonance, our body can really sing. So, that's the teeny little bit that I understand.
And the beautiful, I'll just add, in the beautiful part, and the thing that was so tricky was that in that 10 years, David Schmidt had to work out in the wavelength of light that would turn on copper peptide, the frequency. So, because the principle is, we don't think twice, do we, when we go out in the sun and the sun sends a specific wavelength of light that when it hits our skin, it sends a message to our body saying, elevate your vitamin D. And so we, in winter, of course, we try to get out in the sun because we want to elevate our vitamin D. This is impregnated with a frequency that's reflected back into our body by our body's own light. And it has a frequency that elevates our copper peptide, our GHKCU. And it's not the patch doing the work. The patch is the activator, but it's our body when our copper peptides are elevated, like the vitamin D, that those ninja cells, those stem cells, go to work, and that the body's own internal doctor. We've got this innate divine healing within us that we're using light and of course water and so forth, that our body has the ability, we can live to, David Schmidt talks about it, we can live to biblical ages, but we don't, because we live in this world that we're just bombed with, all sorts of things that take out that natural ability, that destroy it. But this is, so it's exciting, and it's exciting to see how the change in people.
Well, that stems to reason then that why some people experience it differently to others, because it's within our body that's making it work, like you said. So we all come from a different place, a starting point in health. Yeah, even though the patch looks the same, our bodies are all different, and so we all bring something different to that. So Wilma, then I'll come to you. You had your own experience, and I just want to preface that when Wilma reached out to me with my self-reliance, and she'd been following along with what we do all the way in WA over there, and she reached out and she said, I became a My Self-Reliance member, and to do that it's only like $7 a month or $59 for a year. And she said, but I accidentally paid to become a hub leader. And she said, I couldn't become a hub leader. I'm not that kind of person. I'm too shy for that. And I'm not. And so I said, that's fine. That's fine. Your membership can roll over for 2 years. We decided on that. That was going to be great. And the next thing, 3 months later, or I feel like 3 months later, I hear back from Wilma. She's like, my life has changed, and I'm dear. And she's coming out. She's being all, and here she is. She would never put a camera on before, and now she's here as a guest speaker with us. So tell us how you found the Lifewave and what difference it's made to you. And I'm going to pin you while you talk, Wilma.
Oh, Kelli, you told lots of little secrets of mine. But yeah, I found Lifewave because I also did some research into it for my sisters and my health a long time ago, and I was just blown away by stem cells and what they could do and that sort of thing. But I realized that they weren't for us because they were so expensive, very expensive, and they were painful probably to take it, to do it. And the other thing was that sort of caused us a little bit of food for thought, was that you used other people's stem cells, some of your own, but when you would run out, you'd use other people's. And so we thought, anyway, we just let it go. And then but always health has been first and foremost for me and my sister. And then we always in that area of looking to see how we could improve our health. I came across a little sign, a little notice on a board up in our favourite cafe, and it said these two amazing women were coming over to WA to talk to us about stem cells or stem cell therapy or photobiomodulation. I love saying that word. And I thought, oh, wow, my sister and I are there. We are there. We're going to go to this. We went on the 2nd of December and heard Misha and her friend Tessa deliver this amazing information about this technology. And of course, they offered to patch anybody who hadn't been patched. So our hands went up, and so did most people's. And I didn't have a great miracle breakthrough, but I felt it was strange. I felt a lot better. Like my sore back that I always sore and always aching, but you live with it. It sort of disappeared. And I'm wriggling around in my chair thinking, has it gone? Or it can't have gone. It must be there somewhere. But I couldn't find it. And other people were the same. So that was the 2nd of December. And we were into stem cells anyway. So the 3rd of December, we went to an in-home presentation given by the same dynamic duo, and we enrolled that day. We got our patches about a week later, and we started using them straight away, and we haven't stopped. But and we're not going to, even when it finishes fixing all the things that it needs fixing in our bodies. We're going to wear patches for life, because it the thing that I love about, well, there's lots of things, but the second biggest thing I love about Lifewave is that well, first off, it works. That's the biggie for me. It actually works. And they're not on trial, actually. They're not, well, will they work, or if they work? They are patented products. That means to get your patent, of course, it has to work. So that's a big one for me, is that it works. And therefore, because it works, then it's changing people's lives. And that's what draws you in. You feel like Misha said, I think a little while ago, you've got to share it. You feel, it's so good, and it's so powerful, so effective, and it works. You've got to share it. You can't just sit there with it and not share it with people. And of course, Misha's covered it's non-transdermal and non-invasive. That's what we loved. But sharing it changes people's lives. So like Di is here tonight. She's got very, very grateful to her. She's sharing her story tonight. And my niece, Therese, she's going to share as well. That's really amazing. And we've heard, all of us, we've heard so many absolutely staggering results. There's a chap with, is his name George, I think, Misha, is it, with
George.
MS?
George.
Yes, with MS. It's amazing, the results. You can just, but the absolute number one thing I really, really love about Lifewave is the man behind the whole thing is David. He's an amazing human being. He's a caliber person. He's such a great guy, and he's invented this technology, but that is changing lives. But not only that, in the background, he's always researching, and we've heard little snippets along the way that he's got products almost ready for market that's going to, again, make huge difference to our lives. And not only that, but also it's sort of like reinforcing our future. We've got a very, very bright future with Lifewave, and I'm just so grateful for him. I was smiling away to myself earlier on this afternoon, thinking, oh, well, what's the best point I can make about a Lifewave? What am I? But honestly, it is David, and I'm so grateful for him and for what he's done. It's just a little humorous thing, I suppose, but every morning, at night I do a meditation, but every morning I do a gratitude, what do you call them, meditation. And everybody says, oh, yeah, ho-hum, gratitude, yeah, meditation's there, yeah, that's sort of commonplace. But in this gratitude meditation, it's only 10 minutes, but throughout the whole gratitude thing, she's saying, be grateful for this, be grateful for that, and listing all these many millions of things. Interspersed, she always says 3 things. And she starts it and ends it and then says these 3 things during the meditation. And she says, thank you for this day. Thank you for the air I breathe. And thank you for the gift of life. And once I started taking Lifewave and I was saying that, I thought, oh, wow, yeah. And I added a 4th thing. And I always say, always now, since the 3rd of December, I'm always saying, and thank you for the gift of Lifewave. And I mean it so wholeheartedly. I'm just so grateful that my sister and I discovered it, and I can't really share it with enough people. Whether they take it up or not, at least I've told them about it and they have the option. So, yeah, I'm really grateful for that.
That's just so beautifully said. Well done, Wilma. Wow. And what a long way you've come in a short amount of time.
See what Lifewave does?
Yeah, absolutely. See, and this is the testament that I have that when you have a product that works and you're surrounded by the right people, you just grow as a person. So thank you for sharing that with us. Now, there's one thing that you said, and I did have a question around that you'd be a Lifewave user for life, and that you would use it every day. So obviously then it's not just about fixing and curing your ills, but why would you use it every day?
Well, the reason being is another thing that I probably missed of mentioning about David, because his passion in his research, all the research he does, his passion is regenerative medicine. And he often says, this is not age, antioxidants, anti-aging. This is age reversal. And when I heard him say that, I thought, oh, wow, I want that. My sister, I want her to live forever. Forever and ever. I want this age reversal. So, and that's his passion. That's what he was interviewed by the Regenerative Medicine Summit, people in the summit, the 2023. And he was, I think, the key speaker, and he had amazing things to share there. So because of that, I'm going to be a X39 user. I might not be into all the others like I am at the moment, wanting, the one for the sleep and one for pain and blah, blah, blah. But it's the X39 that's the hero. And my sister and I will be using X39 for life now. That'll just be our thing. We just get up, and it's so simple, like Misha said, so simple, so inexpensive, but we're just going to put our patch on and off we go and do our thing. And while it's there working, it will be helping us not just maintain our health that we are there, but helping our body,
Heavenly Father, I know that.
Yeah, become healthier and younger. It sounds crazy, but to become younger, but that's his passion, and that's what he's working on.
Oh, I love that. So it'd be interesting to see over time, how old people start to live using the Lifewave. So
Yes.
we just got to give it enough time, I suppose. Misha, tell us, I have tried now, because Wilma mentioned it, the other Lifewave patch, the energy balance, but there are other types, aren't there? So tell us about the different types and what they do.
I'd love to. Before I do that, I'd just like to say that my husband calls this, he says, that's our insurance policy. That's our only insurance policy we'll ever need, because we too have got no desire to ever stop patching, because we say, why would we want to re-enter the aging funnel and go back to where we were?
Yeah.
And he's had 2 different situations. One was he works he actually works in a mine, and he was in a really horrific, in a bad work accident just after 10 months into patching. And he ended up that he severed a major tendon in his major tendon across his shoulder. And what happened for him is he'd been patching. We're told that the clinical studies show that we patch for 1 month for every decade of our age, Kelly. So in his case, we knew it would be 6.5 months, and me roughly 5.5 months. And that's the point at which all of our stem cells are once again active on board. And they say that that's where we really kick into that deep healing, the age reversing process. So he had passed that 6.5 months. And because he did it on the 28th of November, the surgeon said to him, look, that's a full sever. And it's like a rubber band. When it's severed, it separates. The only way to bring it together is by surgery, sew it up. You're going to be in a sling for 6 weeks. He's a personal trainer, and he's a bodybuilder. It's his passion. So to be then told that he had up to 1 year of rehab afterwards was not great news at all. But what happened is, because they said, well, we don't operate over Christmas, New Year, they scheduled it for February. Right before the surgery in February, he went and had another test done. And, you know, given that he'd done the MRIs and the tests and everything, and they just said, and the doctor said to him, I've never seen this before, but the two ends have pulled themselves together and the body's healed itself. And you don't need surgery. And he could go off, and he was back in the gym, and he's been training even harder. So this is why we have no reason, you know, to no desire ever to stop patching, because of the fact that we want to make sure that no matter what happens in life, because life throws stuff at us. You know, I broke my ankle in Europe last year on one of my trips, and my healing process again was ridiculously fast. So we want to make sure that our stem cells are always, always fully on board and awake for when things happen, that our body's repair kit can go straight in and repair it at these incredibly quick speeds as well. So that's sort of our philosophy for sure.
Yeah.
With your question around the other patches, there are other patches that came along the way prior to, you know, him cracking after this decade, cracking the technology that wakes up our elevates our GHK. So these are things like there's sleep patches. There's something called Icewave, which is for extreme pain. While these work amazingly well on pain, those ice waves are specific. There's the energy enhancers, which are the original first patches that you see Beckham and all these world athletes. You see photos of them, and they're wearing these dots. So that's energy patches. And there are things like there's glutathione. Glutathione is the master detoxer in the body. And so whilst the X39 elevates our glutathione on average by 30%, which by the way is huge, and that's sustained over a 24-hour period, when you put on a glutathione patch, clinically, and I'm not a doctor and we're not making any claims, of course, we're just sharing some of the stats and our story, what happened for us, but it's 10 times stronger in its results. So it elevates the glutathione levels in the body by on an average of 300%. And there's some other patches, they're carnosine and some things like that. So what these other patches do is they help us to be able to accelerate a result. The other patches are peptide specific. So this is our universal cells, stem cells that will do everything, and the body decides where they'll go, because that's the way it's called, the hero patch. Whereas the other patches are peptide specific, and they have a certain function. Glutathione, master detoxer, silent nights, well, that's sleep. Carnosine, it's the bioelectrical system, and it's tissue repair, brain, heart, some organs. They have specific functions, and they help accelerate a result. And if you've got it, you know, of course, we're naturally, if we've got something going on, if we can for a short time add some supporting patches and get that sorted faster, then we lean into that. But pretty much give the body time. All it needs is X39. It just needs this patch. And
amazing.
One patch a day, we're sorted with water.
With water. Take with water. Now, you did mention, Wilma, that you had a few people on tonight who you wanted to share their story.
Yes,
So,
they very, very graciously said to come. They would come on. One is my gorgeous niece standing there or sitting there with her headphones on, and the other is my absolute bestest new friend, Di Stanley. She's there.
beautiful.
She was there a moment ago.
Can I bring on Therese then? You're a lovely
Yeah,
niece.
sure.
Yeah. Welcome. Welcome, Therese.
Hi, Kelli. Thanks for the invitation to your channel. This is a beautiful thing that you've got going.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Tell us your story.
So, yeah, I guess I'll just share the experience I've had and my partner so we were there and met Misha and Tessa at the same day that my aunt and mum met them. And I'd actually met a lady in Lifewave probably about a year earlier, and Tanya had patched me over a lunch one day. And my experience back then, like a year ago, was this within Lifewave, there's a term called a one patch wonder. So somebody that gets patched and has a significant experience of a relief of pain or relief of something. And so I was really, really, really struggling with my eyes, my health journey. The biggest thing is mold. So I've had a 6-year really severe black mold exposure. And that was the main area of my body that I was experiencing a lot of discomfort was my eyes. It was my optic nerve that was being mostly attacked with all the mold. So I was in really, really, really bad shape the day I met Mish. She will attest to that. I was in really bad shape. Yeah. So anyway, as Will said, Mish and Tessa said, "Oh, is there anyone here that would like to patch?" I didn't, because I had access to patches and tried it out. But the thing that got me over the skepticism, even though I had been a one patch wonder and this had worked for me a year prior, like that day that Tanya put the patch on me, the very next day was the first day in over 12 to 18 months that I had relief from this intense irritation in my optic nerve. So the whole next day, that first time I patched for 12 hours, I felt like I was looking out at the world like a normal person. Like it was incredible for me. So, but even with me being a one patch wonder, I still went into this weird skepticism, because I was circling around Tanya for about 12 months, about a year, on again, off again, interested, not interested. Anyway, but my health was deteriorating. That was the thing. And I was trying Travis, my partner, and I were throwing money at lots of different things to try to get my health to start to come back up again. And I mean, it would work, but nothing significant, nothing that would actually felt like I was riding the ship or, stopping the downward spiral. It just still felt like it was a slow downward spiral. Anyway, all my skepticism, but I knew Misha and Tessa were coming because Tanya, the girl that had patched me, let me know that they were coming. And on that day, I was in such bad shape. My partner, Travis, he offered to drive me. He wasn't going to come. I wasn't even going to suggest it, because I was like, nah, this is too woo-woo for him. Anyway, he's such a blessing in my life. He said, "Sweetheart, you're in no shape to drive. Can I drive you to this thing?" And I'm like, oh, tears rolling down my face. That'd be great. So anyway, he came with me. And when Mish, and I'm leading with this story because he is just such a hard man. Nothing works on him. Anyway, so when Mish and Tessa said, "Oh, is anyone in here that's never patched before?" And so Travis put up his hand. He's a very earnest man. So yeah, I'd never put a patch on him ever. I think because I was a bit too worried that he'd be like, babe, that he wouldn't feel anything. And then I'd have to deal with the fact that it had kind of worked for me, but it didn't work for him. Anyway, so that's why I'd never patched him. So anyway, he put up his hand, and I think it was Mish came over, and my partner's a hard wall plasterer, which means he has pushed on tons and tons and tons of cement onto walls over his 30-year tradie journey. And he's a bit like Misha's husband, like physical fitness is everything to him. So he loves his job for how strong it's made him, but it's also wearing him out. Like 30 years as a hard wall plasterer is that's a serious amount of wear and tear on the body. And it's his shoulders and his elbows that have been hit the worst. Because I don't know if you've ever watched hard wall plasterers, how they have to work, but it's something else. And it's his shoulders and his elbows and his wrists that have been so seriously affected. He's already had one wrist surgery because he busted tendons just working too hard. Anyway, it's got aches and pains all over, but it's his left elbow that has been this serious issue where some days he says, oh, babe, I think like if it ever popped, we'd be in big trouble. Like some days it's that painful. He thinks, oh, if I keep pushing, this thing will just go on me. Anyway, so he puts his hand. Misha comes over and he literally pointed. He goes, yeah, there. Look, because it's this particular bone. Do you remember, Mish? He's like, right there. And Mish got it right on this spot. And this is where the miracle starts, because I even saw all of this happen. And in my own mind, I just thought, I just wrote it off. I'm like, it won't make any difference to this man because he's just built like a brick, you know what? Like he's just hard as nails. And about 10 minutes later, I think Mish, they said, oh, how's everyone going? Is anyone feeling anything? And I just looked sideways. I looked at him and he looked at me, and he does this usual thing that he's doing all the time at the dinner table, like wherever we are, he's always just going like this and with this excruciating look on his face. And I looked over at him, he looked over at me, and he did the thing. And then he goes, and then I saw his jaw drop. Like I saw his face just kind of in shock. And he's like, and I was like, what? And he's like, there's less he's like whispering because the girls are up the front like talking. And he goes, it's less painful. It's like way less painful. And I was like, really? Like secretly like, yes. Anyway, and then another 10 minutes went by because Mish and Tessa were doing their presentation. And then they invited people that had been patched to share. Like, okay, speak up. And he literally, and Travis is also not the kind of man that talks up in a group or speaks up and says anything. But it was so dramatic, the shift in 20 minutes for him, that he literally felt the need he had to speak. And he actually said, there is a 90% reduction in the pain in my elbow in 20 minutes. And even he is still to this day, and he'll get up and patch every morning. And he's still just like, he looks at me and he's like, yeah, I know, but they work, right? And he'll stick it on. He's like, nothing, because he just lives with this excruciating pain. He lives with it, whether he's brushing his teeth, whether he's drying himself off with a towel. It's just this sort of really acute, intense pain. And anyway, so he had that 90% reduction in pain there and then. And then I think, we came to that meeting the next day at Tanya's house, and then we signed up too. It took about a week for the patches to arrive. But Travis, though, his elbow has never gone back to that level of pain. And him, bless him, because he tries to save all the patches for me because I've got all this other health stuff going on, he only patches every second day. He won't even patch every day because he's trying to, give lots to me. And his elbow is still essentially has not gone back to the pain that he had that day when he met Mish and Tessa, I think on the 1st or 2nd of December. It's never returned. So, I mean, if this stuff works for that man, that was the thing that got rid of my skepticism, because I live with him and I see how strong he is and how resistant to anything making a difference to him.
Yeah,
because he's just so physically strong. But that's what got me, and that was why I was like, great, let's order them then. The moment they worked for him, I was like, okay, it's done. There's no more skepticism left in my mind.
I
So,
love
yeah,
that.
and
I love that story. I love it because you know what? Because it shows you that you can be skeptical anyway. Be skeptical and try it. And I also
I mean,
love it
I was
because
skeptical for about a year.
because we all know a man like that in our lives, right? We all know a
Mine.
man who's like, yeah, nah, whatever.
Mine
I'll
was
do it anyway.
skeptical, but he was a good skeptical in that he didn't get in his own way, and he was still willing to give it a go. And he said, "Well, why wouldn't I try at least for 6 months? You know, for that thing for his age, he said if it prevents me from going into that aging funnel." He had no idea he was going to get all the benefits that he did, but he just thought from that preventative medicine approach. Yeah.
So good. Well,
And
thank you for
the
sharing.
one
Yes.
thing, well, I really, I know I'm taking lots of time, but there is one other thing that I really have to share about our journey, and that is Travis is a 20-year insomniac. And I was never an insomniac, but this mold, like, I don't know if anyone else here has suffered from like serious mold exposure, but what mold does is destroy your ability to sleep. And that's why I was such a huge wreck that day when I met Mish, was because that was probably about the end of a 3-month stint where I was only staying asleep 1 to 2 hours at a time. And so the chronic buildup of that little sleep over those 3 months had my mental health and my physical health just like, I felt like I was going to break as a human being. And since early December, so since this patching journey now for Travis and I, we are both sleeping. Mish, I haven't even had the chance to share this with you, love. Like, we are both, like, no word of a lie, this is becoming our normal, where we will hop into bed at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and we stay asleep. We're waking up at around 5:30 in the morning.
Wow.
It is a miracle, a miracle. Like, I felt like if what we were experiencing before these patches continued, I was going to end up in a mental health hospital, like, because the sleep debt was.
I know that your level of distress was through the roof.
I was in despair. It was pure despair at that point. And so it is becoming normal for him and I to sleep through the night like normal humans. And honestly, that's the biggest blessing that these patches could have delivered to us.
Yeah.
And that's just the main thing. There is a host of other things that are improving and on the way to fully healed. So I am so the same as Wilma. I just thank my lucky stars every day that he drove me to that meeting that morning, because we're in a completely different place in March than we were in early December last year.
And it goes to show you it's never too late to start, right? You just start and healing can begin. So thank you for sharing that. It's very exciting. I'm now going to bring on Diane. Diane, yes, is that right?
Yep.
And welcome, Diane. Thanks, Therese. Diane, tell us your story. We have about 5 or 6 minutes. I don't know if you need that long. Can we hear you?
No.
She has to unmute. Diane, unmute.
Okay.
There we are.
Okay. I naturally. Okay. Well, back in January 2023, I thought I had a hemorrhoid, and I was treating myself with ointments and from the chemist, one thing after another, which they weren't working. So then
Diane, can we just get you to bring your camera or phone up to there? That's better, so we can see you.
Is that better?
Yeah,
okay, sure. Okay, so I was treating myself for a hemorrhoid, and then next thing I was diagnosed with an 8-centimetre cancerous tumour in my anal canal, which was protruding out of the bowel, so that I thought it was a hemorrhoid. So anyway, I very soon after that had surgery resulting in a stoma with a colostomy bag. I was bedridden in hospital for 104 days. I had 30 sessions of radiation, which caused severe burning. I lost all the skin off my buttocks. I lost the skin out of my groins. And yeah, it was very, very painful time over those 104 days. Anyway, and I was on very heavy opioids at the same time as well. I was on morphine. I was also on fentanyl, a fentanyl patch, which really, and on endone, which was the worst of the lot. I was actually at death's door because of the endone. So it was a really, really very difficult time. I was when I say I was at death's door, I was actually planning mentally. I was planning my funeral, and then I asked to see a chaplain, and he saved my life. Really, he saved my life. Yes, he was absolutely wonderful. Well, then eventually, so I went into for 5 months after hospital. I went into care, transitional care, and with physios and everything else to get back on my feet. And then in September 23, September the end of that year, I moved into a villa, and I was struggling to move around, to get back on my feet. I had brain fog. I'd lost 30 kilos through the radiation, I might tell you, down to 50 kilos. So, yes, one thing and another. So then in the October, a month after moving in there, my beautiful friends Alistair and Helen talked to me and sent me the X39 patches. And as soon as it was explained to me that they were about the light in the body and the vibration, I understood exactly what this was about, because I'm a Reiki 1 and 2 practitioner. And so totally understand that. I've had a lot of experience. Like you ladies, I've had decades of working in network marketing. I've owned and run my own clinics, and I'm a retired RN into the bargain. So anyway, so I said to Alistair and Helen, look, I really haven't got the headspace to take on this as a business, but I'm happy to give it a try. And I said, I'll do it for a month, and then and then I'll see. And then I started watching and learning from David Schmidt. And I was so fascinated by this man, I can't tell you. I just could not learn enough. I watched video after video after video, everything I could learn about David in particular. That's what I was doing. And I have to say, it wasn't a month, it was days. Within days, I started having changes. I was getting back on my feet. I was very worried because I had a lot of brain fog. I was forgetting things. I could be having a conversation, particularly on the phone, and then I'd totally forget things that I knew so well. Well, I got more energy straight away. I got better sleep, much sharper brain. I was actually astounding myself with the things that I could remember, people's names that I could remember from my childhood in particular. And I started living independently. And then back in the July in 2024, I managed to have a reversal of my stoma, which was a total miracle. It was an absolute blessing by God that I was able to have a reversal, because it's very unusual. Not everybody is able to have reversal of a stoma. And yes, I just felt it was an incredible gift from God, being able to have that. Well, then in no time at all, I became a brand partner because my friends who had been with me through this journey, who'd been praying for me, who'd been supporting me, they want to know what I was doing because they couldn't believe the change. I actually, round about that time, I turned 80 in the February, having started in the October, and then and I was able to put on a party for family and friends. I had 52 people there in a function centre and paid for it all. And I was able to circulate around everybody for the lunch and then give a speech to thank everybody, for coming. And after that, it was really after that in the February when my friend said, "What on earth are you doing?" Now, all these ladies are in their 80s and a few of the gentlemen as well. And I have known them for decades, right? And I've mostly known them through network marketing.
Yep.
And they just couldn't get involved fast enough. My main friend, I got in touch with her actually, and funnily enough, the night before she had listened to a scientist talk. It wasn't David Schmidt, but she'd listened to a scientist talking about stem cells. And the day before I got in touch with her, now I did not mention, because I hadn't spoken to her simply ages. So I didn't ring up and say, "Look, I'm doing this and you should get on to the X39 or anything like that." She phoned me the next day, and she's in her 90s, and she said, "Di, do you know anything about stem cells?" And I said, "Oh, Norma, it's funny you should ask me that." Anyway, she joined. She went right to the top level to join. She's turning 94 on the 4th of April.
Wow.
She straight away healed her macular degeneration in her eye. She came recently to my 81st birthday lunch, and she said, "Di, my hair is going back to its original colour. I can tell because of my part, it's no longer grey." She drives herself everywhere. She does her own shopping. She even does her own gardening. She rings me up every few days to tell me how she's feeling, and this is giving me so much joy. I can't tell you. And all I want to say is a big sound out to our wonderful leaders, because they're just Misha, Tessa, Pagan, all of them. They're just the most amazing leaders. And I really it's a big shout out to you, because they make this work. They make this, they take the pressure off us and support us every inch of the way. And I'm very, very thankful.
Diane, thank you for sharing that. And I love that you shared a bit about the business too, and you make the business sound so easy.
Oh, thank you.
And you have obviously having great support does that for you too.
Absolutely.
But your own health journey makes that easy. So thank you for sharing your amazing story. And so I do want to ask, as we wrap up tonight, we have just a few more minutes. So Misha, we've heard from people about why this works. Thanks, Ariana, for coming. I'm sure someone's going to be in touch with you because you've left your details. So thank you for being here. So just tell us, because I started off by saying, this is lots of opportunities, but great business in a box. So people can use the products, they can join just to use the products, but they can also becoming a brand partner, as we've heard. What do you want to say about becoming a brand partner?
I just say, yeah, well, the only way to get the patches is through someone who's patching. And really, it's just, it's a conversation, like, it's what do you know about stem cells? And a lot of the time, it's just literally there's a lean in. Someone hears that you're patching or that you no longer got issues, and they just say, "Tell me about that." And we don't want our stem cells to go dormant. So I guess the thing is, it's just an incredibly natural, easy conversation to have with people. And when they start patching, they're linked to the person that introduced them. And there is an incredible opportunity attached to this. And I think it is the fact that it's patented technology. Nobody else on the planet has this technology. The patent is a worldwide patent. It goes for 20 years. And we've gone through 4 years, so we've still got 16 years left on this particular patent. And it's not a Me Too product because there is nothing like it. So just the fact that it's not skincare, hair care, vitamins, supplements, oils, any of that, that David Schmidt is completely uniquely in his own laneway. And I think there is no more important time than now for people to create multiple income streams. Because in the travels that I've done, and I've been doing quite a lot, and Perth, as the girls were sharing, and people are saying we are in pain, but we are in worse financial pain than we are in physical pain. And the fact that there is a flow back in 60% of everything. David Schmidt's created it so incredibly that 60% of everything that goes into the company flows straight out to the people that are helping and supporting others. And it is a very organic ripple effect. And how could you not share? Because when you hear the testimonials like tonight and you see the change in Wilma and the massive change in trees and you cannot not share. It's like a duty of care, and what people do with it is entirely up to them. But I'd like to really thank you for allowing Wilma and us to share on your platform, and just seeing the extraordinary change in Wilma from the lady that was very, like you said, no camera and very internal just a few months back, and where she is an absolute beacon of light for wanting to help others. And I think it's incredibly important for us to have purpose in life.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well said. Wilma, do you want to say anything, last words before we wrap up?
Well, only that I'm grateful to you, Kelli, as well as Misha for allowing this, putting it on and sharing all your knowledge and your technology. It's just all part of the sharing journey, really, and that's what it's all about. If you can help somebody in the meantime, well, that's great, but you've got it for yourself. Like you said, you don't have to be interested in the business at all, or you can be. All of us are looking for some type of assistance and financially, but the health part of it is, so I'm just grateful to you and to Misha for allowing, and all the people that came to support me as well. I can see Natalie there and everybody, and even Helena. I've heard so much about Helena, but I've never actually met her, and she looks as delightful as Therese says she is. So no, it's just been a wonderful experience, and thank you very much, Kelli.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. Now, I do have a treat for all those that are on tonight. We have, last week, we talked about a draw that we were going to do tonight so that 2 people could win a trip to a 2-night stay at our luxury glamping retreat in the beautiful Lily Ponds Retreat. And we were going to draw that tonight, but silly me, I'm very bad at creating competitions, clearly, because last week we were supposed to write down all the names of the people that attended, and they were going to be in the draw, and then we're going to draw it tonight. But I clearly messed that up because I didn't collect all the names and the people that were there. And so we're extending it another week, and we're changing up the rules a little bit so that people can still get into the draw. Now, because you've attended tonight, if you drop me your email in the chat, then you automatically go into the draw to be able to win 2 nights stay at the luxury eco glamping retreat. And included in that is we have the mineral pool and spa, the fire pit, the outdoor cinema experience, the farm animals, the gorgeous recreation hall that we have that you can just lounge in and play games and play pool and do all those wonderful things. And so you can take that retreat stay anytime throughout the year that suits you. So drop your email in to be in the running to win that. But also, if you go back and watch last week's video call with Simon Wilkins, my husband, talking about how you can invest in property to generate wealth. That's another way. So if you're watching this on replay and you're like, okay, how do I get involved because I can't write my email in, you can go back and watch that recording, drop a comment in and say what you like about purchasing property or how you would like to win that retreat, and you also go into the draw. And then we will draw that on next week's call, and we will have a winner for you. So we have a whole nother week that you can get into winning that lovely retreat. So we're grateful for you all to be here. So extra blessings for you joining tonight. And we want to thank you for that. I know that it's just been such a marvelous evening. We all feel uplifted and really edified by everyone that's shared. And thank you for people who have just come along to support Wilma and Misha, and it's been so good. So more to what we do. If you've never heard of My Self-Reliance, we started off in Sydney, but we're looking for hub leaders across Australia to bring more self-reliance workshops and activities and build the community in your own area. So we have run workshops like canning, fermentation, permaculture, preparing for your 72-hour kit, your emergency go bag. We're all about just finances now, so we have these Tuesday night conversations to really bring people together. So next week, we're going to be talking about creating wealth through gold and silver. So another way that you can invest your money now that you've got your health, now that you've got your business, and way that we can keep developing that. So we're having a look at all the different options that are available to us to continue building wealth, generating community in your area. So if you are interested in finding out more about becoming building the My Self-Reliance community in your area, or coming along to any one of our events, you can reach out to me at Kelli, Kelli, as it's on the screen, at myselfreliance.com.au, or go to the website for all of our recordings, myselfreliance.com.au. And we also have the YouTube channel as well. You can go back and have a look at amazing talks over the years that we've been doing this. So thank you again. Misha, anything else that you want to say before we close up?
Just a final, I think that the technology that David Schmidt has got and the technology coming, the fact that it's all to do with light, it's all about stepping out of the matrix. It's all about being as sovereign as possible in our walk through life. It is, I think it's something to be celebrated, and I wanted to thank you for what you do, and also for anybody that is watching that wants to start their patching journey. Reach out to Wilma, and it'll change your life if you give your body a bit of time.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks everyone for jumping on, and hopefully we'll see you all again. Same link as you've used tonight to join us next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Sydney time or 5 p.m. WA time. And take care. We'll see you all soon.
Thank you.